we just share life stories and make it fun, you know. So with me, of course, myself, Folakemi and Kehinde, were the ones that are going to be talking about our team. So I'm just going to be asking you like one or two questions because we're out of time. Okay, so okay, sorry, I thought that was something else. So Mrs. Z, I have two girls. Folake has a girl and a boy, and then Kehinde has two boys. So we are not going to be talking about something we heard somewhere or something we focused somewhere. It's like life, how you've handled the realities of these things, you know. So I'll go first. Number one question is to tell us about your child's creative escapade. Now, depending on the creativity, the escapade is different. So I'll tell my own story, you know. I walked into my sitting room one day and my daughter had designed something on the wall. I wasn't sure if I should be upset or in what color I should be upset, you know. But of course, I was the one teaching these things, you know. I call myself the person who starts teaching children or help children start the creative. So I realized that, you know, I couldn't talk like the way my heart desired to talk, you know. So, you know, I moved on, you know. I spoke to her about it. I'm sure I must have raised my voice once or twice, like, why are you doing that? You know. But I realized that, you know what? She just designed my own. It was just a design, you know. I haven't repainted it, it's still there. I see it every time. And yes, I was upset, but I realized that was just how trying to be expressive, you know. So can you tell us, does anyone have any of such scenarios to share? Okay, I have another example, right? Well, this has nothing to do with us. Now, my daughter has this thing where, like, she's talking now, and then she goes, as in, she starts to talk like a man. You know, so I was confused about it for a long time because I didn't know why she was doing that. So one day, a family friend came to the house, and he was with us for like 2-3 hours, and he told me, your daughter is speaking in multiple voices. That she's talking in different voices. According to him, in the space of like 2-3 hours that he was there, she had spoken in like 4 different voices. 4. The African mother in me. I was afraid. Like, why is she talking in multiple voices? Is she possessed? What's going on? You know? I was scared though. I was honestly scared. You know, but this guy just told me that, that there's something called, what do you call it, voiceover acting. I should go and check it out. You know, he didn't know the name, but he checked online for videos and tried to show me, but I didn't really understand it. I actually panicked. Honestly, I panicked. Why is my daughter talking in multiple voices? Who sent her message? How can you, 4 people? Where did you see those 4 people? You're imitating 4 people. From where? But you know, I eventually went to research about it. I literally went from being afraid, panicking, to thinking, okay, my child is okay, there's nothing wrong with her, and then thinking, okay, the prayer warrior in me, I bind it in Jesus' name, you know. Then I finally said, okay, you know what? Let me just find out about this thing. Maybe it's not so bad, you know. So I went to do my research, and I found out that that's where I first heard of voiceover acting. I'd never heard of it. Even though I've been listening to people's adverts all my life, it never occurred to me that there was a human being that was behind Daffy Duck, behind the Flintstones, all those cartoon characters. They were actually human voices. Somehow it never occurred to me, and I realized that that's voiceover acting. Now, I haven't, at the very least, right? I haven't done anything about it, but I've removed the mystery from it. So I'm aware of what it is. You know, so I now know that, okay, if I need to take it off, if I need to do something about it, I have an idea of where to go. So that's the creative escapade that was really scary for me. So So can you tell us your own experiences with your kids? Let's start with Folakemi.
Okay. So Fokpefoluwa can be very obsessive. Like when he starts with one thing, he's like an obsessed being. Like when he starts with one thing, he's just so obsessed about it. He he so he would watch like these aircraft videos, and before then it was the cars, and before then it was something else, but he would be really obsessed about all these things for a very long time, and then after a while he just upgrades from that thing to another. So at first I used to think, this person is not consistent, on anything. This person is not consistent, and the person is obsessed. Like, why are you obsessed? And all of that. And why aren't you consistent? But I just realized, and he had been like that since he was younger. When he was 3, there were some specific cartoon characters that he would like for a season and then move on to another one. And his cakes are testament to the cartoon characters he was obsessed about at the time. So and then when he's obsessed about that cartoon character at that time, that's all he draws. So from when he was, I think it was the time that I shared on, he was drawing Blaze at some point. Before then it was Bubble Guppies, and then after that time it was Blaze, and he drew Blaze for about 3 years, and then after that time he moved on to something else, and then after it now became passionate about cars, and started to draw luxury cars, and now the only thing he draws planes, aeroplanes. Those are the only things that he draws. So I at first I looked at it and said, but this is not you're not consistent in one. We think that we know how creativity should be. Meanwhile, the master creator, has put it in different degrees, and the one that you've never seen will still come, to you, and all of that. And so I got to a point where I just accepted it and said, you know what, we don't know what this thing is evolving into. I've seen the pattern. I know what that pattern is. There's this thing about being very passionate or obsessed about something, and then now upgrading, and you just keep on going and you move into. So I am always expecting it. It's airplanes for now. It's been airplanes for almost 2 years now or so. And then the year that he moves from there to whatever it is moving into. But what I realized is that he's actually just gathering. When he's obsessed about one particular thing, he's very curious about it. He learns a lot about it. He goes on YouTube and studies all about this thing. So he's getting more knowledgeable. He's getting more knowledgeable. So he knows a lot about all these luxury cars and all of that. And then he's now going into the planes, and he knows a lot about all this. He knows about the Boeing lines, what Lufthansa has, what British Airways doesn't have any longer, why they almost banned it somewhere, and all of that, all this information. And his dad can relate. Anyways, dad is an aircraft engineer. Didn't start out as an aircraft engineer. In fact, started out as a mechanical engineer. Just got into that line when he, got into the Air Force, and all of that. So as an adult, that was who he became as an adult. Wasn't his childhood dream or anything like that. So, but I mean, if this one is starting now, at least he has one or two people around him that can, but I've learned how to live with the obsession and the, what would I call it now? The obsession and the change. He's probably going to move on to something else. Maybe like maybe exactly, maybe spaceships or something like Mr. Omotosho said. So, but we are in it with him all the way. Wherever he goes, we follow.
Okay, that's great. I mean, it may seem like obsession to us adults, but it's really not obsession. It's just that's what they like at the moment. That's because it's like, even we adults, we have what we currently like. There's something that you currently like. So it's like it would be as if you're obsessed with it, but it's really not obsession. That just it's just that one. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so Kehinde, would you like to tell us about any of your child's escapades? Hello. Okay, I guess Kehinde will join us.
Can you hear me?
Okay, yes, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay. Good evening. Good evening, Mrs. D. Good evening, Mrs. Odesola. Okay, so I will start by saying, of course, every because even till adulthood we keep evolving, so nobody can really say, oh, Can everybody? No, I don't want to start a video because I'm in a car.
Oh, it's fine.
So
It's fine. It's fine.
Let's just start it now.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I would say briefly about my two boys. Folake has experience of what it means to have, boys just having different ideas all the time. So for my kids, when my first son got to the age of about 4, when he could play with his younger brother, they started having similarities, and then that one just follows whatever his elder brother does. So it was difficult for me to know what my second son really likes, because whenever David is obsessed about animals, before you know it, Jedidiah would follow suit and start doing the same. So it was difficult for me to really understand who my second son was, because he was always following the steps of his elder brother. So for now, I think what I know, before, he loves to draw a lot. Sometimes he will tell you, oh, this is a whole city. He will tell you this is where the church is, this is where the shopping mall. He will be showing you. I'll say, what's going on? Do you want to be an architect or what? Because he will draw an entire landscape. He will put trees, he will put shrubs, he will put all those things, and I'll be amazed, like, wow, this is really good. And he will tell me, oh, this is the village, this is the way to the stream, this is the way to the river, this and that. So he would explain. But as time goes on, he started drawing animals. He started getting obsessed with dinosaurs, telling me this is called this story, this is called this. I'm like, okay, whatever it is you want to do. So what I know I had to start doing is just to encourage them. So they always ask for clay. They love clay. They love Legos. They just want to build things. So I had to encourage them by getting those things for them. And that is how it has been, literally, in getting them. Okay, sorry, I'm a bit. Okay, no problem. So, and that is how it has been, raising them. I would say I'm still learning. I'm still observing. I'm still learning. To know many more things about them, because every day they come up with new things, and because they are doing it together, so it's hard for me to even know, oh, this is what JD loves and this is what David loves. So because I just treat them together, if we want to do basketball practice, both of you, we are going together. If you want to do music classes, the only thing I know is that JD will tell you, oh, I love drums. David will say, oh, I love this. So okay, I can know that, oh, Jedidiah likes the noise part of music, just making noise. But David isn't like that. So literally that is what it has been for me. So as a parent, I think it's important for us to keep observing our children, keep exploring different options with them. Ask them questions. What do you like? What would you like to be? My first one, if you ask me, what do you like to be? Sincerely, he'll tell you, I don't know for now. And I cannot even specify him. He'll tell you, for I don't know yet. But if you ask my second son, I can tell you, oh, I want to be this today. Can say I want to be a president. Tomorrow you say our president is not a career path. But it's hard for me to explain that a president is not something you study in school. But anyway, so he just has his own weird ideas about what he wants to be. But for my first one, he's really clear. But for now, he'll tell you, I don't know yet. Yeah. So, but I just keep watching him and observing what he likes to do, and then encourage him on that path. So as parents, I'm also learning. I don't have all the answers, but I think that we should be intentional about how we raise them. And if we see that their interest is tending towards a particular direction, we should always support them and then find ways in helping them improve on those things. And if it gets to a point, as Folakemi said, and they decide to say, oh, I don't like that anymore, it's all well and good. It's your life. God knows what he has put inside of you. Yes. So we can only help them to work on the path that we feel is right for them, but we can't impose those things on them. So it's for us to keep guiding them as they grow, so that when they get to the age where they can finally make that decision for themselves, they will have the right knowledge, they will have the right skills to know that, oh, this is what I really want to do. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. You mentioned something, Kehinde. You don't have all the answers. Honestly, there's no parent that has all the answers. Let's not deceive ourselves. There's nobody, there's nobody. So you can only try, you can know where you know up to, but you don't have all the answers. And the funny thing about creativity, right? For sometimes the child tends to like what the parents like or what the parents do, you
Yeah.
know. But sometimes it's something that the parent does not even understand, like, where did you learn this thing from? You understand? So whichever one, it's like each child is different. You have the two kids, not even three. If you have two kids, you understand that they're not even the same. No
Mm.
two children are the same. So everybody is different. Every child is different. So the one they come and display, just encourage yourself. I think if your son wants to be a president, presidency is good though.
There's a career path to it, too.
It's a
There's a
career
career path to it.
path. Maybe
Yeah,
not
there
the
are people who
traditional
study,
schools, but
the people who
there's a
study
pathway.
policy and strategic
Political
studies.
science,
Yeah, people who study law sometimes,
yes.
know the legal system, know everything and all of that. So there's a career path there. It's probably just an offshoot of something. It won't, they won't call it how to be a president, but or like how to be an architect, but it will be an offshoot of some certain set of knowledge, and all of that skills. Yeah.
So the career path, so there's nothing there, you know. So we need to just encourage our kids in whatever way we can. My daughter likes music too. She tries to what's the word? What's the word? Where soprano is singing, alto is singing, tenor is singing. So we are singing.
Okay.
She tries to harmonize. She's just 5, but she tries to harmonize. But of course, every time she tries to harmonize, she's singing off key, and it's distracting for me. Her dad can cope because he's a music person. I can't. So sometimes I just keep quiet because I'm thinking, okay, she's singing off key, but I realize that she actually switches keys.
The fact that she can pick it, that is
Yes.
actually different.
It's
Yeah, I
different.
think
She
that's
knows
cool.
it's different. She may not just be
Yeah.
getting the correct one, but she knows it's different. So
Yeah.
me, I cannot harmonize. I know. But I just leave her. I let her be. So even if it starts to bother me, I just keep quiet because I know that it's confusing for me. I'm hearing one key here, I'm hearing another key there. But I realize that if you switch key, many times when we're singing like that and my husband and I adjust, she would actually adjust with us. So we adjust to the key she's singing on, and then she changes key again. So I realize that okay, it's not a mistake.
No mistake. You just want it to be the same. Exactly.
Who knows? Maybe this is Africa's next Beyonce. I mean, I don't mind. But at whatever point she is, and I try to encourage her. So we did manage. She's taking piano lessons. Then we bought her a small keyboard at home. She plays it when she wants. I mean, not every day. And I've learned to move on because you spend money on those things, and sometimes they just ignore it for months, and you're like, okay. But the day you touch it, they'll come and tell you, no, it's mine. Don't touch it. So we've learned to adjust. So Folake, do you how have you learned to adjust? To the different versions.
Okay, so I think for me, because when I looked at it, I thought about it and said, well, maybe it got that from me as well, because his dad, I think, is a bit consistent, has been consistent on one thing for a very long time. No, I don't know if his dad is also multi-passionate, but maybe because of the where he works, career line and all of that, he's learned a lot of discipline and just focus on this thing and just continue. So I thought about it and I said, okay, maybe he probably got it from me. The only difference is that I stay longer. I probably stay 5 years on something, and then in the next 5 years I do something else. So he's
you
a
learn
kid.
to
I mean,
dwell on
yes,
one thing.
I've learned to dwell on one thing. And I think that's how I've been able to manage my multi-passions, actually, to learn how to, instead of touch and go, to learn how to build and, be deep rooted in something. And then once that thing is deep rooted, you know that it cannot crumble. Then you move on to something else and then you build again. So I think
Yeah.
when I look at him, jump from one thing to another, when I look at my son, my daughter has been pretty consistent about who she says or what she says she wants to do for the last 5 years now. She's been consistent on that thing. And I see her. She watches things like Idols, The Voice, and she's even a coach too in the
Okay.
house. She's a critic.
Aha. Ah.
Like, no, the way he sang. So I don't think he sang that part well. I've listened to, and all of that, and everything.
Aha.
She watches Food Network too. She likes food, and then she says, no, the person didn't present, the plating wasn't good. The food maybe, but the plating wasn't good. So she's finding her own ways to express. But when I see Fokwe jump from one thing to another, and all, I'm not bothered. At first I was kind of bothered. I felt like it was too it was too rapid, but then again I said, well, maybe it's just probably displaying skills of, there's this thing about change, as in I don't have a problem with change. I try to look for the lesson in it. And what lesson? Some people find it really hard to move on from something and get to another thing, but this one is saying, no, I don't have a problem with this. Oh, I'm done with this phase, I'm moving on. So it's almost like not looking behind and and staying like maybe 10 years regretting something, but just being able to quickly move on, to something else, and
And
doing something. And they're
that's a
actually
life
not,
skill, though.
it's actually a
That's a
skill,
life
yes.
skill.
Actually a
It's able to
skill.
move on.
Yes. And I don't really see, they are not necessarily disconnected or disjointed. When I look at it, there's a pattern that I can see, in the things that he's interested in and the things that he wants to draw. The scary one there's a video on my Instagram where you see him sit down and do this, like, he's always, when he sits down, you can be talking to him and then he's listening to you, but he's doing this, the plane is flying already, like the other one you're saying, you're talking to your plane is flying. So, and then, or sometimes he draws in the air. He seems really, this particular child is very nerdy and seems really odd, but that is your child. You accept this child and you work with him. So he draws in the air and all of that. And at some point, at first, some people told me, no, don't let him draw. I'm like, that is his own canvas. Let
Yes.
him draw anywhere he wants to draw. Please don't. If I used to get very upset, why
Don't
he puts his
limit
hand down?
him.
Let him draw anywhere he wants to draw. That's his canvas, and all of that. So he stopped. He doesn't just draw on paper. He draws in the air too. Let him. He's imaginative. Like he's seeing something. You don't have to see what he's saying, but he's saying something. So I've learned how to just accept this child. What do you want to even do, Seth? If you don't accept this child, what do you want to do?
What do you want? There will no return
So you
policy.
might as
You
well
can't
just
return the child.
exactly. So you might as well just look for, so I'm always looking for the good. Really, I'm always looking for the good because I believe that there is good in them, in these children. There's good in these children. I'm always looking for the good. Okay, what could he be doing? Okay, because I watched a movie on Einstein and how he always just used to see all those calculations and mathematical things. He always used to see them. He used to see them with his eyes, like he used to see them in the air and everything. And when he got to a particular school and all, we solved one thing for the person was looking at him like they had been trying to solve that particular calculation a very long time. But he used to see them. It was like he would just be sitting there and all these mathematical things would just come and play in front of him, and all of that. So you don't know what this child is seeing. I beg you. So the more exposed we are, I watched that movie. I saw that thing, but this was way before I saw my child doing something similar. So I think the more we expose ourselves, if we take on this subject of creativity and see that, creativity is that one thing that can come in any form. It can come in solid, in molten form, in ice, in air form, whatever it is. So I think we just need to be open. So I think I've learned how to just be open-minded. I'm the one in the house that tends to be very, no, we have to do very rigid, but because of the creative side, I've just seen that, just open up your mind. Just open up your mind. You don't know what this is, what wisdom this is. Just open up your mind. So that's how I get by. That's how I get by. Yes.
That thing of writing in the air. I saw it in this movie, Jingle Jangle, where the main guy, Veronica's Jangle, he just they actually used to show, the way they made the scene was like you could see all what he was seeing.
What he was seeing, yes.
Yeah, so he would be writing, calculate, and then he would just speak in something and it would work. So he like the greatest coin maker at that time, you know. So I realized that that's actually how everybody can figure out something, you know. So it's like
Yes.
the world is your blackboard. Like
Yes.
you can write in thin air, it's your blackboard. Nobody else is seeing it, but you're seeing it, you know. So it
Mm-hmm.
may seem weird to a lot of people, but it's perfectly normal. I
Yeah.
had this guy come over to my house to fix something one time, and I actually saw him do it. He was just writing in the air calculating, and I was like, okay, what's going on here? But I realized that, you know, he's the only one seeing it. His blackboard, his board
Mm.
is in the air. It doesn't mean he's crazy. No, it just means that he can calculate like that. You know, so
Yeah.
some people learn to draw in the air like that before they can draw it on paper. Some people learn to calculate like that, you know, but whatever the case, it's a process. It's how they what's the word, process things, you know. So I like the way you're not letting anybody disturb him. Let him be, let him draw it in the air, write it in the air. When the time comes, you give him a whole wall. Let him draw it on the wall too, you know. So the world is our canvas. Huh. You know the
Yeah.
way some fashion people will say the world is their own way.
Yeah.
So they can walk they can walk in traffic. They can have a photo shoot have inside traffic. People do that, you know, and when I see it, I'm always scared. Like, hey, don't try this in Lagos. Maybe in another country. Don't try this. Hey, Lagos drivers, you know. But I see people do it, and they say it. The world is my runway, and they are doing very well. So why would you think that their runway has to be inside one hall? Don't do that. Don't contain.
Yeah.
Don't try to, you know, contain the child. Don't keep the child in a box.
Yeah. And
Just
restrict.
allow
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So okay, so one, I think the last thing I was gonna ask, that you've answered all the questions. I was going to encourage your child, but you've answered that. So I think the final thing is, any advice? Do you have any advice? Any final advice for people watching?
Okay, I think my advice, the most pressing one, you know, that I've had, because the subject of parenting, you know, we go back to the subject of parenting, um, building, you know, bringing up a creative child and being able to be there for that creative child is always going to fall on your foundation, you know, and the background that you have when it comes to parenting. And we were not all parented in the way that we want to parent our creative children. We creatives were
Yes,
not parented in the way that we want to parent our creative children. So I'm going to
yes,
just advise parents to be open-minded, take courses, you know, attend anything, anywhere you hear about, you know, how to help your child, anything about how to help your child, maybe like emotional intelligence, like attend courses that help you to help your child, you know,
yes,
attend courses that help you help your child and be a better person so that you can be a better person for your kids. There are a lot of things that we are bringing from the places that we are coming from, a lot of hurt sometimes, a lot of pain, a lot of, you know, all of that, a lot of you know, invalidity, like people did not validate you, you didn't feel like you were valid, you didn't feel, you know, all those things. We're bringing those things, and
mm,
everybody who has been through one hurt or the other um is a potential abuser. Like you can also hurt, you know, another person.
yes,
You know, it doesn't really matter whether you want to do it or you don't want to do it. You know, that's why you find people beating people up and then saying, I'm so sorry, I never meant to do that. They actually didn't ever mean to do it, but it just
mm,
happened because they have the potential, you know, there's the potential, you know, to do it. One day becomes, you know, kinetic. The thing just, it just happens, you know.
mm,
So go to places that allow you, you know, have a personal development. You know, I'm an advocate for personal development. You know, you learn more, open up. We don't know everything. When Kehinde was talking, she said, I don't have all the answers. We all don't have all the answers. Even, you know, we have learned, you know, some things, the things that we know. So, and we always work from a
uh, okay, that's the next one. Mm? Oh, sorry, sorry, that's network. Um, so while we're waiting, um, I was going to say that my own daughter who speaks with four voices, probably more by now. After doing the research, I went on to check for places where she could possibly learn how to turn that into an active skill. And I was shocked to realize that there were there are people who are badass voiceover actors. Like there's voiceover acting, there's voiceover act, you know. So they're like badass voiceover actors. There's a guy, a particular guy, I don't remember his name, but he was the voice of how many a good number of Disney cartoons, as in a good number of them, a good number of popular Disney characters. They were all his voice. His voice, I can't remember their names now, but a good number, at least six popular different Disney characters. He voiced them. So he was so good at what he did. He had an accident at some point, and they were supposed to be on set. They actually moved everything to the hospital just so that he could play his part. The guy was very good. I mean, I think he's like one of the top voiceover actors in the world. Of course, he's late now. This was way back, but I never knew that was a thing. So because I researched, I realized that okay, that's possible. So of course, I went on Instagram and I found a page that they actually give courses in voiceover acting. I follow them. I've never reached out to them directly for anything, but I follow them, so I'm a bit aware of what they do, their programs, their prices, and all that. So I know that. So while I'm doing that, while I'm observing them, I'm observing my daughter too, and I'm saying, okay, you know what? If it gets to a time and I see that she continues in this, then I will enroll her here. So what am I doing? I'm not just sitting back and saying, no, I mean whatever, man. No, I'm observing her, and at the same time, I'm keeping in touch. I'm keeping in the know. I'm keeping in the what's the word now? I'm keeping myself up to date about that line. So it's not just the child does this. Yeah, I mean I know I'm aware, but I'm not doing anything. No. While you are waiting, what are you doing while you are waiting? You don't have to be one of those that, the moment you see your child can sing, you throw them into a music school. No. You can take your time and observe the child. It may take a bit, a few days, a few weeks, a few years, but you observe the child while they're exhibiting whatever they're exhibiting. And if you get to a point that you feel that, okay, I think they can get professional help, then you can get them professional help. But while you're observing, you should also do your findings. Okay, who would I bring in to help? What kind of professional help will I bring in? So it's not just, you're just random. No. And you'll be shocked there's professional help there's professional, let me not say help, but for any profession, there's something you can do to train. You can train for that profession. You'll be shocked. I never knew there was such a thing as voiceover classes, as in having classes, paid classes. Well, yeah. And they have sessions like often enough, maybe every other month or something. So you do your research while you're observing your child. Don't just think, do your research, because when you do your research, it removes the mystery. It removes the shock. Like, hey, what's my child doing? It removes the shock. So that's my advice for parents. That's my final advice. Okay. So Falaka is back. Do you want to finish your advice?
Okay, yes. Okay. I was saying that be more allow your kids, help them to build trust in you. Be more of a coach to your children than sometimes being a teacher. No, you cannot do this. You can be a coach. Sit down, have conversations with them. Listen. Sometimes more than you speak, or before you speak, go and find out about that thing. Be their analyst. Someone talked about how she found out, about being a voiceover artist or a voiceover actor. So I heard about that when I went to broadcasting school. That was where I heard about it, when I took that course in National Broadcast Academy. Allow them, be that coach to them. One more thing I wanted to say, for example, when that voice you're talking about, I've heard it. When she came over to my place to play,
can you imagine?
Yes, I did. I heard it. The deep one that sounds like the male voice. I heard it.
Yeah.
But funny enough, it didn't seem odd to me. Like, I just looked at her. I thought that she was even doing like a drama where this person will say something and then the other person is responding and all of that. So I said, and I think I mentioned to you that that she can play all by herself. I think I said something like
Yes.
that.
Yes.
The kids are not even, there's no problem. They can play all by, that was what I meant when I said she can play all by herself, because I heard her and I said, everybody acting, to get that. There's a lady saying something, there's a guy saying something, that, that's what I thought when I heard it. And you see, and so when you bring your kids, the kind of environment you take your kids to as well can make or mar them. If somebody had heard that thing that day and felt like, what's this one doing? And they are called the child, come, don't do that. Especially, let me take on my people for a bit. We Yoruba people, don't do that. Who are the one? Who are the, don't do that? Who are we talking about? As in, who are the people we are patterning after? And all of that. And when you want to, so if you had, when the uncle came to the house, the guy came to the house, if you had said, will you stop that? Stop doing, don't be so quick to shut them down.
Shut it down. Yeah.
Don't be so quick to shut it down. Just be a coach. Sometimes a coach just listens for hours. Somebody is ranting and talking for hours, the coach listens, and then later, as the coach is listening, writing down so many things and taking notes. There are some things the coach understands on that paper, there are some things the coach doesn't understand, but we are here to figure it out. So be there to figure it out. I think that's what I'll leave you with. Be there to figure it out. And you will succeed. Yeah.
So as a parent, just know that add coach to your title. You have numerous titles already, like nanny, dishwasher, laundry woman, just add coach to it, cook, add coach to it. So thank you so much, Folake. So Kehinde, do you have any advice for parents? The final advice. We are rounding up now.
Okay. Putting all together all that you guys have said, I would just like to add that we should also, as Folake has said, be a coach to them, and then we should also guide them, because at times some of these children, as they grow, they want to pattern their life after somebody or friends. When they see what their friend is doing, they also want to do it, not necessarily because they like it, but because they just want to, just that feel among kind of thing. So we need to also guide them. And then the place of prayer is also very essential. We need to always pray with them and also pray for them, because at times the devil also, plants some seed in their heart that you can obviously know that this is not just God. So place of prayer is very, very essential. Whichever religion any of the parents listening believe in, they should also help their children in knowing that path, and then praying for them as much as they can, because we are custodians, and we are caretakers of these precious gifts. So at times, Folakemi mentioned that you want to impose your own kind of life on your child, maybe based on your experience or based on your background or based on where you're coming from. So that shouldn't be the case. These children have their own life to live. So that is why it is really essential that as parents, we should not relegate the place of interceding and praying for them, and also guiding them on the right path. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Kehinde and Folake. Thank you so much for sharing with us. I wish we had more time. We would have passed a whole lot more, but thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay. So on this note, we have come to the end of my Creative Child Conference 2022. It's been awesome. It's been interesting, but yeah, we evolve every year. So I hope you learned something. I hope that the purpose of this conference, I hope the purpose of this gathering was fulfilled. I hope you are taking away what we want you to take away. I don't just have a list of speakers and say, okay, you know what, let me just fill them in. No, I'm usually very intentional about who I bring on. So whoever you saw speaking here is not random. No, it's not random. I bring people together to share their experiences and all. So I really, 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 really hope that you learned something, at least one thing from being here. And I hope that you can implement it in your child's life, because in the end, we all want to be excellent parents. There's nobody that wants to become the bad parent. And this parenting journey, we are all learning it. You don't know it all. Nobody knows it all. So where we can learn, we learn. Where we can teach, we teach. So I hope that we all become the best version, the best kind of parents that our kids deserve. And I hope that from now on we become more intentional about their creativity. I see people intentional about what their kids eat, when their kids sleep, what their kids watch. But when it comes to creativity, it's like a blank wall. So we need to learn to be more intentional about our creativity. So I'm Mrs. B once again. If you have anything to share with me, you can contact me via email or via WhatsApp or on Instagram. You can send me a DM. I'll be happy to respond to you. If you have questions, I'll be happy to respond to you. If you have comments, I'll be happy to respond to you. So 8:05, and this is the official end of my Critical Conference 2022. Thank you all for being here, and I especially want to thank someone